So I got a cool little camcorder here today by Hitachi. This is a mini DVD camcorder, but it also has a HDD hard drive inside of it that you can store your videos to as well. And on top of that, you can take pictures to a SD card on this guy. So is it worth having in your camera collection? Let's find out. There, welcome back to my camera collection. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the Hitachi DZ-HS300A. Now, if you're new to this channel, my channel is all about retro camcorders, and I like to go and check out the specs on old camcorders, along with showing you the physical features on them, and then I kind of give you my gripes or my opinions on them. And at the end of the videos, I like to share some of the test footage that comes out of these camcorders. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. So yes, this is the Hitachi DZ-HS300A, and it is a DVD/HDD camcorder from, I believe it's from 2006, was originally priced at $800. So this was kind of technically the budget-friendly camcorder from back in the mid-2000s. Now, it seems like a lot of people enjoy HDD camcorders. A lot of them, in my opinion, are generally cheap and built for budget consumers, or they're more of a consumer model, if you will. To be honest, DVD camcorders aren't really my favorite. They were never really made to be a professional style camcorder. They were always meant for ease of use and being able to just transfer the videos to your computer very easily. But going into the specs on this camcorder does have a 8GB HDD hard drive in it. Now, if you want one that has a bigger hard drive in it, you can check out the DZ-HS300A. That camera has a 30GB hard drive in it. And if you want to use the DVD, you can only record about 18 minutes to the DVDs. Now, if you have one of the ones that are double-sided, that's 18 minutes on both sides. So definitely the HDD hard drive is the way to go. This camera does have a little bit of editing functions in it that are pretty limited if you go into the playback functions of the camera. And it also has a 2.7-inch LCD screen on it that supports 16:9 aspect ratio. It has 200,000 pixels on the LCD screen. Along with that, you do have a 0.2-inch colored viewfinder, and it has 120,000 pixels. Now, this camcorder does support a few different types of DVDs. So you can use DVD-R, DVD-RW, DVD plus RW, and DVD RAM. Those are the kind of discs that you can use with this camcorder. And this thing has a crazy small sensor in it at 1/6 of an inch, so it's pretty small. The sensor does create 680,000 pixels, but when you record, it pretty much does about half of that at 340,000 pixels. So it's definitely lacking on the capability on video quality, and I definitely agree with that. And the picture resolution is 640 by 480. It also has a 25x optical zoom, along with a 100x digital zoom and a 1200x digital zoom. It does have a weird lens thread diameter on it at 34 millimeters, so I don't think you could really find a fisheye or a wide angle lens to really use with this, but you might be able to find some form of an ND filter or a polarizer filter of that sorts. A 34 millimeter is the size that you would need for that. It's also got electronic image stabilization in it, along with a Dolby Digital stereo microphone on it, and you can manually control the white balance and the focus on this camera. So those are just some of the specs on this camera. None of the real nitty-gritty stuff on it, just some of the stuff that I find important and probably the most interesting specs for this camcorder. Now that we've talked about some of the specs, let's go around and check out some of the physical features on it. So let's start off at the front. Well, we already talked, it does have a 34 millimeter lens thread diameter on it, along with a 25x optical zoom and all the way up to a 1200x digital zoom. But underneath the lens, you do have a infrared sensor for a wireless remote, along with a tally lamp in the middle of it. And you do have your left and right channels, I guess, for your audio for the stereo microphone. And you do have a little hatch right here that hides your AV out and your USB out. The AV out isn't your, I guess, generic headphone jack looking AV out. It's very specific to this camcorder. You might have to go online and find a specific AV out cable that will work with this if you want to use that in some kind of way. But you can use the USB plug-in to plug it into your laptop or computer and transfer your files onto your computer that way. Another weird thing, and I don't understand why they did this, and a lot of these DVD camcorders have this, is it kind of has this little, I don't know, lens, plastic lens here, and I guess you can attach different filters to it and stuff. I guess it just kind of, it's more for aesthetics, I guess. It doesn't look like it has threads on the little ring here itself, so you do have to take this off if you want to put some form of a filter or lens on the front here. Kind of weird. I don't know why a lot of camcorders were that way with the DVD camcorders. Not a lot of buttons on the outside of the screen, but you do have a few here, and you have disc navigation. That's pretty much being able to go into playback and watch your videos back that way. You can, depending on if you're in the HDD mode or the DVD mode, it will switch back and forth between those, and you can watch your videos back that way. You got a menu button and a stop/exit button. If you're watching a video in playback, you can push stop and it will exit out of the video that you're watching. Or if you're in the disc navigation mode or playback mode, if you will, you can push stop or exit and it'll bring you back to the record mode. So it took me a little bit to actually figure that one out. But then you also have a dubbing mode, and I'm not exactly sure what that one does, but I think it's some form of editing in the camera. You also have your playback functions here. So you have some play and pause, fast forward and rewind, and a couple of other ones here too. I think you can skip frames if you're in, if you pause it, and then you can skip frame by frame. But it also acts as your cursor, so you can select things in the menu and scroll up and down in the playback menu and all that kind of stuff. Opening the screen, it doesn't have a button that you have to push and then open it. It just kind of snaps in place, which I kind of like as long as it works. But you just grab it from the bottom and it opens up. And then you have some functions here on the inside. So you do have a playback speaker here. I find nice because it's on the inside of the screen instead of the side of the hand strap. So if you want to be able to hold the camera like this and be able to watch your footage holding the camera with the hand strap, you can do that, and you don't have to muffle the playback speaker. But you do have some other buttons up in here. So you have full auto, so it'll turn the camera into full auto mode. You got your focus, so you can switch between manual and autofocus. Your exposure, so it turns exposure manually on and automatically. You have your BLC, or your backlight, your display on and off, a quick menu button, a finalize button. Along with that, down here on the bottom left, you do have a reset button. You usually want to get like a little pen or a clothespin or something like that to be able to push those. There's a little compartment here, not sure what's in there. It might be like a little nickel-sized battery of some sorts. And then you have a little light here that is your card access. So if it's reading the SD card, that little light will start flashing and it's showing you that it's reading the pictures that's on the SD card. Along with that, you do have your SD card compartment here. It's a little bluish purple tab that you can just pop open, and it is actually here on the bottom, and you can pop your SD card out. And this camera already has a 512 megabyte SD card inside of it. So I'll go ahead and leave that in there for whoever buys this camera. Now on the back side here, you do have your viewfinder, which is a colored viewfinder, and it does pull out, which is nice, but it doesn't swivel up and down. So at least it pulls out. I know a lot of these camcorders, they just have a stationary viewfinder in them, so it is nice that it pulls out. But then up on top of it, you do have your focus adjuster, so you can adjust the focus to however your eyesight is. And then on the bottom right of the viewfinder, you have your battery eject button, so you can push that and then push up on the battery and the battery pops out. You do have a little light here that is your access/PC. So if it is reading the disc or reading whatever is on the HDD hard drive, it will blink red and telling you that it's attempting to read the tape, or not tape, wow, I'm so used to tape camcorders, the DVD. And if you have it plugged into your PC through the USB cable, it will light up orange. And then you do have your tape eject. Wow, I am really blowing this right now. You have your DVD disc eject, so it's just a little switch you push down on. It will make some noise and the little tray pops out and you can grab your disc out. And then you have your power switch wheel here, so you can switch it from off. SD is to the right to access being able to take pictures and stuff from the SD card. And I think you can do you can look at your playback or look at what pictures you have taken if you're in the SD menu as well. You have the HDD menu and the DVD menu as well. So if you want to record to the hard drive, you put it in the HDD mode. And if you want to record to the DVD, you put it in the DVD mode. And same thing goes for playback as well. If you want to watch what's on the hard drive, put it in the HDD mode. If you want to watch what's on the DVD, you put it on the DVD mode. That's kind of how that works. And then you also have a little safety block switch just below it. It's really tiny. Sometimes it's hard to miss, but it will actually keep you from accidentally switching it to DVD mode when you're in HDD mode. And then obviously in the middle is your record button and a little safety switch to make sure you don't accidentally turn the camera on when it's in the off position. Not much really going on the right side of the camera besides this weird little lump that you see here, and I think that is the hard drive on the camcorder. That little lump kind of makes the camcorder a little awkward and uncomfortable to hold. I guess they didn't really have any other place to really put the hard drive besides right there, so I assume that's what that is. It's just a very odd shape for where you would put your palm for a camcorder. So I assume that's what the lump is the hard drive. But up on top, you do have a slider zoom, which I think it is decently responsive. I think it could zoom in a slight bit faster, but it's not too bad. It's responsive enough, but it's not super touchy and it's not unresponsive. It's decent. You do have a photo button here up on top right behind the slider zoom. And then you also have another button up on top of the viewfinder, and it is your sleep/reset button, or I guess restart button, my bad. So that is for, I think if you're watching a clip on your camcorder, you can push that and it'll restart the clip. And then I think sleep mode, if you're in the record mode, it will put the camera in like a sleep mode, or in like a, like on Sony cameras, you can put it in lock mode or standby mode. It's kind of like that, I believe. But other than that, I think that's all of the features on the outside of the camera. I'll give you some of my gripes about it. My first gripe, I guess, is the power switch itself. It spins a little too easily. You can feel the switch kind of go into place when you go into like the DVD mode or the HDD mode. It moves very easily. So it doesn't really lock into place in the positions it needs to be in. So you can bump it and accidentally just turn the camera off altogether. And if you're recording a clip or something like that and you accidentally just turn the camera off, you just lost your clip. So it might even just corrupt the footage and you might have to try and repair the footage, which I'll get to that as well. My other complaint is it doesn't have a accessory shoe or a cold shoe mount. You can see a spot where it would actually sit nice and flush at, and it would sit nice and flush, or at least a little bit above where the disc sits. So you would actually be able to put accessories up there easily and not have issues with it sitting in place correctly. It does suck that it doesn't have an accessory shoe. This is more of a budget model. My other complaint is it doesn't have a headphone jack plug-in, so you can't monitor any of your audio, which isn't a make or break deal for a budget camcorder, but it also doesn't have a external mic plug-in either. So if you do have an external mic plugged in, you would like to have some form of audio monitoring for your external mic to make sure that it has the right audio levels and stuff like that. So I guess if you don't have a external mic plug-in, you don't really need a headphone jack plug-in to monitor audio. You don't get either one of those. And it's probably not a big deal, but it doesn't have a generic AV plug-in. It doesn't have like the headphone jack style AV out on it. It has a very like USB looking AV out. That part just kind of annoys me, because if you do want to use like a clear click video converter in some kind of way to capture your clips, you can't unless you have a very specific AV out plugin, and you might have to search kind of deep on the internet to find one. I don't know if you can find them on eBay or Amazon. This could be specific to this camera here, but the camera won't eject the disc tray or the disc door if the camera's not in the off position. So if you have it in the DVD or HDD mode, the camera won't open up the door to get to the disc. It'll just sit there and kind of glitch out, and you can't do anything with the camera. It's trying to do something to open up the door for the disc. So you have to pull the battery off, put it back in to reset it. Make sure you have it in the off position when you do that. And then while it's in the off position, you can hit disc eject and it'll usually pop the tray open, unless the battery is too dead to do so, which I think is what's going on right now. So I don't know, that part's a little annoying. Another issue with it is it has issues reading discs. I put in a brand new DVD-RW disc and it was able to record one clip to it, and then I tried to record a second clip. It would record it and then it would sit there and say disc access or DVD access. So it's sitting there trying to process the clip that I just recorded onto the DVD. It won't do anything. So then I would take the battery out, put it back in, and it would say that the file is corrupted. You would go and try to patch the corrupted file. The camera allows you to do that. It wants you to hook the camera up to a power source or a power supply for it to do that. I don't see anywhere where there's a power supply on this thing unless you plug it in through like the USB on the front somehow. I don't know. So that part's really annoying. It could be just like a dirty eye that reads the disc, but I've tried cleaning it and I'm not sure if I cleaned it well enough or if there's actually something wrong with it. My guess is it's just dirty. Another really annoying thing about this camera is it won't let you delete clips from the DVD or the hard drive unless you have it plugged into some form of a power supply. I don't know why. You go to delete the clips and it says to do this process you have to have the camera plugged into a DC or power supply source. Well, where do you plug it in at? I don't even have a power supply that will plug into this. I have an external wall charger for it. So all the clips on there is from somebody I don't even know, some lady and her baby that she has, and took it to like SeaWorld or something like that. I don't know. Some of the clips that I will share will probably be of SeaWorld, and I will try to not add the child into it because I have an issue with trying to get the clips off of the camcorder onto my computer. There's only like one clip that I can get off of it, and that's the only clip that shows up. So there's a lot of other clips that are on the camcorder, but that's the only one that shows up. So I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if my computer doesn't like the files or something, or if this just has some kind of an issue. I've never really messed with one of these DVD/HDD camcorders. That is all of my gripes for this camcorder. If you want to buy this camera for yourself, I will have it up on my eBay store, and maybe you know a little bit more about these kinds of camcorders than I do, because this is really the first one that I've really messed with that's a DVD camcorder. And if you have one of these camcorders for yourself, I will leave links to batteries, chargers, DVDs, an AV out cable if I can find one, and any other kind of accessory that I can find that will work great with this camcorder. So now that that's all said, let's check out some of the footage that comes out of this camcorder, shall we? For watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you leave a like, and if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe, because we talk about old school retro camcorders almost on a weekly basis. And on that note, we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.